Welcome to the bronze level waste management and recycling presentation from the Office of Sustainability. What is sustainability? Sustainability is formally defined as meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet with their needs, which is basically making sure that we maintain our standards of living and so do the future generations. In former Chancellor Rebecca Blank's words, as resource stewards, we at the university want to promote environmental sustainability through our own campus operations, integrated with research and education. There's three steps to sustainability success that we at the office identified and addressed through our Green Office certification program. And you're looking at the bronze, you're not currently at the bronze level, which targets waste management and recycling. We want you to succeed in this program. So we have a few tools that we provide for you for your success. One is this presentation by the Green Office team, an action checklist, a detailed resource list, and we also check in with you 2 weeks post to see how you're doing. And of course, we're always there whenever you need us. Why is waste management and recycling important? One, um, the landfills. Landfills cause atmospheric pollution and groundwater contamination, and a lot of the chemicals from our trash seep in or are released when they decompose. And you can reduce um, the negative effects of having trash in landfills by actually reducing the accumulation by using reusing and making sure you put items in the right recycling. Two, pollution. Pollution is a widely discussed topic and has detrimental impacts on each part of our ecosystem. If you understand and try to learn the right techniques of waste management and recycling, you can try and avoid pollution by a big margin. And also, waste management and recycling is important because it is a way of making sure we don't use virgin materials, which can cause resource depletion. What is waste? Waste comes from a linear model of thinking about resource production or product production. We generally extract, manufacture, distribute, use, and dispose. And this disposal causes the waste. But if we shift and think about it, it is like, waste is now unusable remains or byproducts of something. And yes, this thought process is outdated. And we can think about having a circular economy in which we try and manufacture new products from our recycling sector and reuse or recycle the material that we think is waste. So, as our office likes to recognize, waste is a resource in the wrong place. And what are recyclables? They are waste materials that can be processed and used again. Hence the word recyclable as they enter the economy or the product cycle again. Thinking about recycling, we should first understand where our waste goes. Our waste goes to the Dane County landfill, and according to numbers from 2016, UW-Madison disposed around 11 million pounds of trash. And if you can think about the weight, it's equal to 550 school buses, as the illustration shows you. And 65% of all the materials discarded in academic buildings goes into the landfill, which means there's a lot of numbers we can think about. The Dane County landfill charges about $50 per ton of trash in their landfill fees, which means 5,000 tons of trash is $250,000 in landfill fees, which is almost around a student's college fees, and almost one fourth of trash in UW Madison Academic buildings could have been recycled, saving $62,000, which is a yearly fee of a student. And how long does it take to decompose the stuff we put in trash? If you look at the items, maybe like clothing and cartons take around between 1 to 10 years. Our shoes and cans around 100-year mark. And if we think about diapers, other glass bottles, maybe getting into the thousands. And batteries and more plastic, they may take forever. And it is also important to note that there are uh, materials that take way too long to decompose to actually represent on this scale. How do we shift our thought process about how we interact with waste? You must have heard reduce, reuse, and recycle, but to understand what they really mean, we should think about them even more deeply than the 3 R's. We should interact with waste by understanding where reducing, reusing, and recycling fall. And a good way to think about it is the zero waste hierarchy. Rethinking and redesigning our economies and our product creation and design patterns to make sure that the economy feeds into itself is one of the first and best ways that have been identified to reducing waste. Second one is actually reducing the usage of products that can increase the waste. And third one is reusing so that we keep reusing, say, plastic bags. We get a plastic bag, we keep reusing it until it's not in such a good condition. The next one is recycling or composting. So that is basically um, a little down on the scale or like on the waste hierarchy, as recycling and composting take a significant amount of energy, which is again something that we want to think about and not use as much. Then is material recovery, is when we take most of the materials and when a responsible organization takes them and tries to work with them. And residual management comes next, which is treatment and stabilizing landfilling so that we don't pollute the environment as much. And an acceptability is when we try and incinerate or waste to energy, which can release toxic gases and toxic byproducts. So the hierarchy also thinks not only about the easiness of the process, but how the process impacts the environment again. As we now reside at UW and work here, we should also think about how UW recycles. UW is currently on a multi-stream recycling pattern. So it separates commingle, which is metals, glass, and plastic, from office paper and mixed paper. But UW, according to latest reports, is trying to move to a single stream recycling. Where does our recycling go? So most of our recycling is collected by UW Madison FP&M, which is Facilities Planning and Management, Custodial Services, and their waste and recycling teams. They're transported to Pelletary's material recovery facility where they're sorted by their value. So right now, office paper has the highest value, commingle comes next, and mixed paper has the least value, which means UW is also paid that way. So it's highly recommended not to mix your office paper, commingle, and mixed paper, as it reduces the value of load. How are the recycled products used? We can, you see some different examples here. Different numbered plastics go into different products. So like plastic one, which is a little more flimsy, goes into backpacks, bottles. Plastic two into more chairs, pens, and cans. If you think of metal cans, they go into making other metal cans, bikes, and even cars. And mixed paper goes into making the toilet paper holders, maybe a newspaper, or even egg trays. So if you try to separate them properly and dispose them properly, they can be created into new materials in the future or new products in the future. So it reduces the need for some virgin materials that we take directly from the earth. How to know if an item is recyclable? Especially plastics is one we're trying to focus on right now. Currently, pelletary takes plastics 1, 2, and 5. So these plastics are generally used the most in fueling other products, but also it's important to reference to your local recycling system continuously. Numbers 3, 6, and 7 are never recycled because currently there's no market for them. And number 7 is often a compostable plastic, and you can feel good about throwing them in the trash. It is very important to make sure that your recycling items are clean and free of grease, especially cardboard. Labels and stickers are okay, but there is no need to remove them. Let's talk about compostable plastics, or generally the number 7 plastics. Compostable plastics are most available in unions, dining halls, badger markets, and local coffee shops. Please look for the label on the cup because if they enter the actual recycling plastic stream, they are treated as contaminants, and pelletary might reject a load of recycles just because of the contamination. And we rather try and be mindful of taking compostable plastics out because we don't want to lose out on an entire load of recycling. Batteries are an extremely can be extremely hazardous to the environment, so it is important to understand how to dispose them. Alkaline batteries are actual trash. Lithium batteries do not go into the trash, but they should be returned to a responsible service. Rechargeable batteries are the ones we recommend the most because even though they cost around 4 times, they last 200 times longer. And you can return your recyclable batteries to your vendor or somebody can responsibly take care of the batteries. You can visit the UW Madison Recyclopedia for some more information on how to dispose batteries. But if you see any tower that says batteries in it, the towers are probably going away or are already gone by the time you're watching this video, which means that you can no longer put them with the recycling. Another important resource on campus that can help in repurposing is surplus with a purpose. There are actual department on the campus that collects unwanted materials and redistributes them to other departments and also has some auctions open to the public. Reusing these materials can actually extend their life. So if your department is looking for new furniture or some equipment, please feel free to check with Swap on their official website. You can actually give or buy office materials from Swap, and they'd be more than happy to make sure that you have some materials that you can find on their website. There's some signage that you may see from the Office of Sustainability. This is some of the sample signage you may see from us. But please be mindful of proper disposal and disposal tactics we've talked to you about before, and probably a little more through the presentation, because signage is always in the process of being updated almost whenever pelletary or UW Madison changes their the waste disposing patterns. We also have a few recommendations for bin organization in your room. In each room, we suggest having trash and office paper, just because they are most likely the ones that you will be throwing the most in office. And in the hallway, we suggest having a big commingle bin, a trash, and a mixed paper bin. It is also recommended that you take your own personal trash and office paper to the big bins in your hallway, so that you can save some of the custodial staff work, but that's completely optional. But having this a little more structured bin organization can also help in being mindful about how you dispose your waste. As I mentioned before, centrally locating trash and recycling can keep the job simple for custodial staff, but it can be tough to take your trash and office paper to the center. So we also wouldn't mind as long as you're disposing in the right bins. It is also important to keep signage clearly near the respective bins so that there is no confusion. And a quick tip is keeping the office paper bin near the printer so that if you have anything that you have to dispose, you don't have to walk around for that. And the general printing on the printing double sided, and utilizing scrap paper so that you actually try and make most use of the paper you have in the office. Those were actually strategies for when you have to actually use paper, but using online options like Google Drive or Box, which are provided by the university, is the best way to go. And limiting the purchase of individually packaged products can reduce the amount of plastic in a by a huge margin. And also buying in bulk reduces the shipping package related plastic waste. And also making sure that your office has reusable mugs and dishes and also a space to clean them can also encourage people from using single-use plastic cups, straws, and dishware. There's a few more tips we'd like to give you about how you dispose your recycling. Break down your or flatten your cardboard so that it's easier to transport and there can be a bigger load that can go out. And make sure that most of your cans and boxes and glass jars are more clean than dirty. If there's more than a certain amount of contamination, again, a recycling load can be rejected at Pelletary and be sent to the Dane County landfill. Please do not crush your cans as they can be read as paper because of their thickness in the Pelletary system, which can cause some issues with paper recycling. Keep bottle caps on bottles because bottle caps are very tiny and can crowd the machinery that is responsible for our waste and recycling. And when you're not sure about which bin you have to put your waste in, we suggest putting it in the trash. One, because when in doubt, throw it out is our main policy. Because sometimes we can wish cycle, that is, put plastic that is not necessarily being able to be recycled, and that can actually be taken as a contaminant in a load, and the load can be rejected. So when in doubt, throw it out. There's actually no more bronze level platinum task that we have developed, as there's no more campus composting. And if you're interested in the platinum certificate, we'll keep you updated. These are the teams that help in creating the Office of Sustainability and the program that we like to offer. We have green events, green labs, green Greeks, and green athletics, which kind of work with sustainability consultation along with Green Office and the Social Sustainability Coalition, which puts up talks every month and is currently focusing on amplifying BIPOC voices in sustainability. Please do remember that we are your resource and uh, we are there to help you out through the process and make sure you succeed, because you succeeding helps make campus more sustainable. You should be receiving an email from us, or you should have previously received an email from us with the whole post presentation package. And we're always there to answer your questions and provide resources. Thank you very much.